Hi, this is Kevin back with Let Me Tech You, and in today's video, we're going to be going over how to utilize variables in your Terraform code. Now, in our last video, we talked about how to migrate or move our state file to the cloud, to Terraform Cloud. So, with that, everything up there, we're going to just kind of put some variables in our code to kind of make it more user friendly and not so much hard coded. Gives you the ability to kind of lift and shift your code to, like, say, different regions, other people being able to use it, things like that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add a couple more resources as well. And let me rename this folder over here. I'm going to change this here to a different name. So if you just started following along on our other videos, we created a folder called Terraform Provider, and I'm going to change that to just Terraform Learn. And let's just name this. All right, so let me switch out of here, see Terraform. All right, and then I'm going to need let's remove this and then add that new folder. Okay, so we got that in there. Now what we want to do is let's go ahead and add a new file. And you can create variables within your main.tf file, but it's nice to have them separated out. Okay, now that was simple. So first thing we're going to start with is we're going to essentially take this value, and instead of actually hard coding US East 2 directly in our provider, we're going to make that a variable. So variables are simple. They're basically three optional arguments that you have. So you got a description, type, and default. So what I recommend usually, so if you go to, let's open up a web browser and go to Terraform. Go to their docs. Well, actually, let's go to the registry. AWS documentation. And let's go to, let's see, Pro. Oh, actually, wait a minute, 1 second here. So AWS region. So usually what you want to do is, I would usually use some information from, there we go. So provides details about a specific AWS region. So the provider is so the variable is basically like this. So it's variable, and then AWS underscore region. And then inside here, you're going to have your description, and that we're going to paste in what we had there. Then you're going to have your type. Now, there's a couple of different types. So if you go, we can just Google Terraform types. So types and their values. So you got strings, which is like some form of a text, numbers, booleans, which, you know, either true or false. You got list or tuples. So a list could be, you know, it's going to be like this. So where you have your brackets, and then you could have, you know, it could be US West 1, US West 1C, or it could be boy, girl, or apple, oranges, whatever. And then your map, which is like a group of values identified by like labels. So like, you know, name equals this, age equals that. So these are some types that you'll want to kind of, you know, go off of here. And so we'll go back here, and our type is going to be a string. because we're just going to be having, we're going to be using text. And then you're going to need a default value, which you can keep blank, but we'll go over that later. And our default value is going to be US West, and what do we have in there? Or US East 2. Okay. So if you don't set a value for your variable, you have to assign it before the Terraform can apply. So typically, if you were to run the Terraform apply and no value is in there, it's going to ask for one. So now that we have that set, we're going to go back to our provider here. Into our main.tf file. And to call or utilize that variable, let's save this. We're going to do a var. Let's take this out. So var dot, and then you can already see using the extension for the Terraform, it helps us already kind of understand what we want to do. So var dot AWS underscore region. So now the variables are kept in here instead of hard coding them directly in here. And we can do the same thing for our instance type. So let's do another variable. We're going to call this AWS underscore instance. And then description, same thing. Let's go. Now you can make up your own description. It doesn't have to, be this, but kind of like the, someone was to read your code, you kind of want to make sure that the descriptions align with what's going on in there. So I'm going to go AWS instance under the resources and updated and deleted. Okay, so we're going to copy that, and then let's go back into here, paste that in there. Type is going to be string, and then default is going to be t2.micro. And let's save that. Then now we can come in here and same thing, var AWS instance. Okay, so we got that. Now what we can do, which I'm going to kind of take us a little further into adding some additional, well actually what we'll do is, since we've already, and you know what, let's just make this a variable as well. So we'll do, well actually, you know what, 1 second here. I think I made it. So this is actually going to be variable as instance type. Instance type. So let's go back here and let's find instance type. And we're going to take that and we're going to put that here. And then we're going to make another variable, call that instance. Actually, where are we at here? We can do AMI. Let's see if we can find an, okay, so AMI. So here, let's take it all the way to here. Okay, so instance, we'll call it instance underscore AMI. And you want to kind of keep your variable names descriptive, but kind of flows well with what you're trying to accomplish. So description there, type. Type is going to be string, and default is, let's go here and just paste that in there. All right, so let's save that. So we got our variables configured. So we got region. Let's change this to var.instance AMI and save that. Okay, so now we're basically we're at the point where now we have all of our code set up in a variable more structured way, variably more structured way, so that everything's not hard coded directly into the file here. So now we can essentially only change information here and not have to worry about all the places it would need to be changed in here. So it's a great way to kind of separate code from information that's going to be needed. Now, if we go in and try to apply this to our AWS infrastructure, I can go Terraform, and I like to do a Terraform format. And what this is going to do is basically, if I have any formatting errors, kind of like this, if I do a Terraform format, it's going to fix all that. So you see the stuff shifted, and then Terraform plan. And as you can see, I'm actually using the cloud up here. So like I said in my previous videos, we migrated our state file to the cloud. So now this is going to be running everything from up there. And also our keys and everything are stored up there. So it looks like an input variable with the name has not been declared. So we must have a... Oh, you know what? Instance type. Save that. Let's run that again. So that's good. So that's why the Terraform plan is great, because it basically will kind of sift through and make sure there's no errors or anything before this runs. It's also nice to make sure that you're not going to be destroying something accidentally or changing something you didn't want to be changed. Now once this goes, now see we have the plan. It says 1 to add, nothing to change, 0 destroy. And let me go here. Let me just get this going. Now, like I said, when you're running from Terraform Cloud, it's a little slower only because you have that that delay from the cloud to the to your local desktop. So usually to kind of circumvent a step here, I usually do Terraform apply -auto approve, and what that'll do, it won't force you. Oh, so auto apply. Let's see, I believe it's Terraform auto approve. I believe it's oh yeah, let's see what we did wrong. Forgot the Y. Okay, so what that's going to do is basically remove the additional step that's going to be needed at the end, because usually without that, it's going to ask you if you want to approve this, then you have to type yes. So since I'm running from the cloud, it's a little slower. I like to just kind of skip past that step. So let's give that a second here. So once this gets built here, what we'll do is we'll actually make a change, and I'll show you how Terraform can still understand that you made a change, but nothing in your environment's changing. So let's let this create the instance here. And basically what I'm going to be doing is, so maybe you do want something hard-coded in here for whatever reason, but you want to move it from the variable back into the code, or you say you have your existing code already hard-coded, but you want to move it into a variable. So if you take, like, let's say this AMI, for example, I'm going to copy that. And then in here, we're going to go, even though that's still creating, we're not going to do anything yet. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now, we got that back in there. Let's do my Terraform format. And then we're going to do a plan again. And as you can see, what's going to happen is it's going to show that nothing in our environment is changing. So the great thing about that is you can actually make changes that kind of make your code better. And if it's not changing the state or configuration of your service or whatever you're using, you don't have to worry about infrastructure changes because it's going to match. So if you want to make your code better, switch things around, as long as you're actually keeping the same infrastructure and it's seeing that, then you're good to go. But that's why it's always important to do the Terraform plan. That way you can make sure that you're not making those changes. So there's a lot of other different particular, let's say, types of string variables that can be created. Like I said, you got lists, you got maps. And the thing is, it's going to really depend on what you're utilizing in your resource. Because I don't want to go too deep into how to only do that with specifically AWS, because you could maybe be doing something with another provider. So, you know, if you go into the registry and you want to browse providers, you can see there's Azure, Google Cloud, Kubernetes, Alibaba, all of these other ones that you could be creating resources with. And basically, let me see, you know, if I was to say, for example, I want to create a subnet. So if I go into AWS, I go to documentation, and let's look for, you know, subnet. So if I go to resources, so AWS subnet, and I want to create a subnet like this, right? So we're going to take this and let's copy this. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put that in there. And this is going to be AWS subnet. I'm just going to call it main. We're going to take this out because we're just going to make it a part of the default VPC. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create this, and let's see what, if I go into my console here and sign in, we're going to see that instance that I created. And as you can see here, it's using this default VPC that's provided with every AWS account that you create. So we can see our subnets here. I'm going to create a 172 dot, okay, so I'm going to do a 172.31 dot, let's say 10.0./24. So 171.31 10.0/24. And we're going to keep that main, but let's say, you know, you want to have a available subnet, you know, available solder blocks or whatever. You can say in your variable that you want to have a list of these various subnets that you want to create instead of having to keep putting them in one by one. So again, that's it. You know, I won't, like I said, if you have any questions in regards to other types of things, you know, just drop me a comment down below and I'll be sure to kind of help you out there. Again, you know, I'll be also posting the next video on how to output data from our Terraform code into the screen here. Again, thanks for tuning in and hope to see you next time.